close enough. I think that's perfect.
This episode of Essential Mountain Homestead is brought to you by Mug Root Beer, non-caffeinated for those hot days when you need just the right tasty beverage to
while you're
keep
surrounded by snow.
While you're surrounded by snow. Dang it! I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking. Hot day, lots of snow.
Listen, that's enough talking. I'm gonna do some drinking. That's a tasty beverage. Please find this at your nearest convenience store and enjoy responsibly. Okay. So today we're gonna get the sawmill out and do some cutting. And Dirt Patch Heaven is here with us, and she is deathly afraid of heavy equipment, which doesn't make any sense to me. I love heavy equipment. The louder, the better. The more. You know what? We're gonna get you in there. We're gonna get you running the sawmill and trying it out. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it a lot. So come along with us as we cut up some boards and make some lumber on the sawmill.
Complete newbie, what are the safety things that you need to know? Should you have a buddy the first time you use your sawmill? And cost of sawmills? When do you know that you need a sawmill? What are some of the basics, maybe the brand that you care about?
So I use the Wood-Mizer, and the thing I like about the Wood-Mizer is parts are easy to get. It's a very simple system. It's been around a long time. And the price point was excellent.
So what about are there different degrees of sawmill?
Yeah, so this is an entry level, or just high-end entry level. It was a good fit for the environment we're in. The majority of the trees that we have around, this machine can cut. I'm not going to find myself wanting a bigger machine. The price point was right. I picked this up used. I paid $5,500, and I've already gotten that much lumber out of it, and it's still got years and years of life in it, and we'll probably cut 10 times that much lumber on this little sawmill for projects around the homestead. So I don't know, there was a lot of questions in there and I kind of got sidetracked.
What kind of skill level do you need to be at to use one of these sawmills safely? What tools should you be familiar with in order to be able to translate to the sawmill?
I think that anybody from Neanderthal to super genius could use this machine. Especially with a little practice, and it's one of those things where I'll show you, okay, that you gotta watch this, and this is moving here, and you'll kind of get an idea of where the danger zones are, and then as long as you're watching those, you'll start cutting, and you'll kind of catch the rhythm of the sawmill, and I think you'll be really comfortable with it in no time. It's really user friendly. Wood-Mizer's machines they have great ergonomics, they're easy to run, and even people who don't run a lot of equipment or feel comfortable around machines are going to feel comfortable with them very quickly.
Okay. So for me, when I thought of coming out to do sawmill, I thought, okay, I need gloves, I need ear protection, I need eye protection. Is that good enough?
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic, and if OSHA is watching, hard hats, safety glasses. No, OSHA. So we've got our safety vests, we've got our gloves, we've got our we're absolutely 100% steel toe boots, everything. We're good. The reality is, as long as I had my sunglasses and my underwear on, I could run this thing all day long and be just fine. Other than a sunburn.
Do you know this from experimentation?
Not yet, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
I would be just fine running this machine. I would have sawdust in places I didn't want sawdust, but I would be just fine. It really is a very safe machine.
The difference between your own personal sawmill and lumberyard, and the lumberyard we went and looked at, they were talking about why you needed the mill pond.
So the mill pond is for washing the dirt and the mud and frost, because that board has been sitting out all winter and it's soaked up moisture and it's frozen. And so by getting them up off the ground, they're gonna dry out, they're gonna thaw out, and we can sweep the mud and the dirt off of them and get them cleaned up before we start cutting them up with tools. Because even with carbide tipped blades, the dirt and the grime, the rock and whatever might be in there will wear those blades out really fast. So the cleaner we can keep the lumber, the longer we can keep the bands sharp on the sawmill, the longer we can keep our carbide teeth in our circular saws sharp. It's just a good policy and practice to keep the lumber as clean and dirt free as possible. And so that's kind of why I wanted to get these up on the sawhorses, and so they can dry out and air out, so I can start cutting them into boards for working on the little house, on the cabin, and other projects around the property.
And you just made these sawhorses, these industrial strength sawhorses.
So these industrial strength sawhorses they used to have some 6 foot long legs on them, and they had fuel tanks up in the air on another homestead project. And I thought those would be great sawhorses for timbers. I could line up all the timbers, I can cut, I can whatever. And they're heavy duty enough that I don't worry about how heavy the lumber is, because I'm not gonna bend this or break it.
How many pounds do you think you have on it right now?
We probably got a couple of 1,000 pounds. Let's see.
Yeah, because they're wet on top of that, right?
Yeah, everything's wet and snowy. So actually this isn't as heavy as I thought it was. This has dried out quite a bit. I mean, I could barely lift it last summer when I cut it, but now that it's had through the winter to dry out, and it's not as heavy as I thought. So there's probably not as much weight on here as I think.